My name is Iris. I'm 43 years old. I was born and raised in Honduras, and I had been married to my abuser for 16 years. My husband is a very charming person. You would never suspect that he's an abuser. He is a musician, a gospel singer, a minister. He do everything for the church. When I would ask him to do things for us, for our family, it was almost that I had to beg. But yet he was the man of God that I needed to listen to and obey and submit. His father is the bishop of one of the largest churches in New England. My husband's parents were our marriage counselors. Every problem that we had in our marriage always was addressed by them. There was a pattern that we needed to follow. But the less the woman says, the better we look.
So I'm listening to you and I have all these things happening inside of me and I keep thinking, you don't have what I have. These feelings are like a fucking volcano right now for me.
I enjoy inflicting pain on people. I'm a sadistic narcissist. So very often I would externalize my internal aggression in order to kind of enjoy the effects on people.
People are good and they don't deserve to be hurt. They don't deserve to be treated that way. And that you see vulnerability and you pounce on it like a fucking lion on a gazelle is wrong.
The person with MPD, the root of their MPD is a highly traumatic, highly painful environment, usually childhood. And it usually forms between two polarities where the child is being overtly abused and neglected and then also being spoiled in some way that is also boundaryless. So you might have an abusive father and then an apologetic, guilt-ridden mother. The father abuses and then the mother overcompensates for the child. Is that child then going to spend the rest of their life experiencing huge amounts of anxiety and depression? Yes.
I have the most extreme form of narcissism, narcissistic personality disorder, where there is a total disruption there's total emotional dysregulation. Emotions are inaccessible, perhaps because they are threatening, but they're inaccessible, that's a fact, and so on. So I don't emote. I have no emotions whatsoever, except a few negative emotions, such as anger or envy, or to some extent hatred.
When I started realizing all this mess was about 2 years ago when I started having problems with my husband, and I just didn't quite understand why. I've been trying to do everything I've been taught. Why it's not working? We went to a therapist in the hopes of making our relationship better, and I had to push for that. She mentioned to me, your husband is a narcissist and you're a codependent. And I was like, what? Well, what is that? Well, narcissists is all about themselves. Like, yeah, and I've never heard codependency before, that word. And so I went online. So I put on the search engine codependency because she mentioned that I was a codependent. And then I found out about codependency, and later I started finding out about narcissism.
I'm a narcissist, so my main motivation is what is called narcissistic supply. Essentially attention. Narcissistic supply is a fancy name for attention. I'm also getting money, but that's a secondary consideration. Narcissistic supply, attention, is what I use to regulate my sense of self-worth. You see, my sense of self-worth, as opposed to normal people or healthy people, fluctuates constantly. It's labile. It goes up and down. And when it's down, it's very down.
Because they're really wonderful. They're really wonderful in the beginning. And so you're just like blown away. This is the best man I've ever known. And then they become your worst nightmare. So what you're doing is you're giving them what they need. They give you what you want, which is this like Cinderella dream thing. And then what's happening is they make you addicted to like this love bombing thing. And then then the mask falls because they feel, oh, I got her. I can chill now. I can relax. I can be myself. And what they call that is the mask. Now the mask starts to fall and you start to see these cracks and they'll slip up and, oh, I don't want to go with your family to dinner. Who wants to meet your family? Oh, your friend's an asshole. They start to criticize things in your life that are important to you because they feel threatened by it, because they have to overpower you and control everything that's important to you. So once you start to, all of a sudden you're criticizing, they take it as a criticism if you counter anything they say.
It's a bad idea doing anything to a narcissist that threatens their hyper-idealized self-image, because they will punish you very severely. You can be punished by a narcissist simply for existing without needing them. They can find that threatening. You can be punished by a narcissist simply for saying politely, no, I don't wish to do that. It's an extremely cruel internal world in which they live, which is why that cruelty is mirrored outward to their victims.
My then boyfriend had tried to kill me more than once. But I didn't understand that this was all a game. And I didn't understand it was a really dangerous game.
By force or by guile, you will play this game with me, or I will destroy you and kick you out of my little world.
I had ran to my car and he jumped my car and he came in and I don't know why I let him get in the driver's side. And we started to drive towards the Brooklyn Bridge and he told me he was going to run us off the bridge and kill us. And so that was the first time I had ever begged for my life.
It's a haunted house. The narcissist personality is a haunted house. So you need Ghostbusters, not therapists.
In order for me to live a life where I'm abusing people without ever being wrong, without ever being, how is that? You have to have a truly insane psychotic level of a break with reality, and you're constantly ducking and diving like ninjas, like psychological ninjas, trying to dodge the laser beams of responsibility, where somebody would say, that doesn't even make sense. How could you be, if the person was a perfect idealized version on Monday, how could they be devalued on Friday? That means you were wrong. Well, I'm never wrong.
So for me, I'm a sucker for love, like more like a love addict. And then it becomes a toxic love, because once they're done love bombing you, they're secure in you and they know that they have you. That's when it turns around and they begin to abuse you, take advantage, hurt you, verbally assault you, rage on you, cheat on you, do all kinds of things to destroy you. And by then you've become addicted to this golden period and hoping to get it back. What have I done? How can I get that love back? That's not real love. Real love doesn't just, treat you like crap after they've treated you well. It passes time. And with a narcissist, it's not like that.
I operate at 10% of my capacity because I have to dedicate 90% to futile pursuits, such as obtaining supply, such as coping with my rage, such as regulating my sense of self-worth, my ups and downs, such as coping with my mood disorders, with my lability. It's depleting to be me. It's depleting. It's energy consuming. And there's nothing left there for creativity, for happiness, for interrelatedness, for having a good time. Nothing is left there for this.
When I met my husband, he was a sex toy designer, of all things, right? So I met a person that, oh wow, it's super open with sexuality, it wants to be intimate. And when he moved with me, a couple months before moving in with me, he started rejecting me sexually from one day to another. And I just, that was his point of control, because he knew that that was my trauma. My trauma was having been with a previous man who rejected me sexually too, and that takes a hit.
Doing a good job of garnering narcissistic supply and maintaining the godlike false image, or are you failing? And they're either succeeding and appeasing the angry god, or they're failing and it makes them feel absolutely worthless. Their anxiety is, I don't think it's too much to say, is purely abandonment anxiety. Their depression is purely narcissistic depletion.
What I call love is combination of actually fear of abandonment and fear of losing supply and disintegration, coupled with kind of gratitude to the source for maintaining me.
Because the red flags of narcissistic abuse are something you feel rather than see.
Gratitude also.
The interaction with the person will lead to a sense of anxiety, a sense of potential danger.
I would really want to rip him physically apart little by little. And maybe that's because that's what it feels like that he had been doing. Like skinning. And layer, you know.
Now with all this and with the knowledge that I have, I think it puts me in a place where I know now.
Having living with him, his charm won him the 50-50. His family all along has been trying to keep me quiet. They never believed me. They didn't want a scandal. The church is their life. I no longer believe in the church system because I know it's imperfect. But what got me through was my relationship that I had with God. I am grateful that I'm not longer subjected to do things that I didn't want to do.
I'm in denial. I can't have the good without the bad, and I just need to heal and recover, and then eventually I have faith that God will send me a normal person, healthy, I hope.
But I help people to diagnose what narcissistic abuse is, its effects, help them to heal from it, so they walk away from the subject. I don't want them on forums in 10 years' time obsessing over MPD. I want them to go and live their lives and move on.